I know that I'm cute, and I abuse my cute privilege a little bit, but I want to be really clear that it is cute privilege. Like, were we all from Chicago here? One person is from, okay, 2 people are from Chicago, and you're not even proud enough of that fact to say woo? Woo! Okay, that makes me think that you're actually from Naperville. He's from Northbrook? Oak Brook. Skokie? Sorry, that was anti-Semitic. No, I feel like you should woo if you're from Chicago, please. I mean, okay, so for the context of this story, for those of you who are not from Chicago, weirdos, I was at the London House. We know this hotel. Yes, I was at the bar at the London House, but not the rooftop bar, okay? Because, like, again, cute, not hot, cute, not a hot person. I was there, and I was sitting, you know, at the hotel bar next to, like, a white man in his 40s, and then another white man in his 40s, and then there was me, okay, just setting the scene for you. So the white man in his 40s who was sitting in the middle, he orders a tomato basil soup, because again, he's 40 years old, so you can order soup at a bar once you hit the age of 40. And he eats the soup, which arrives, and then he's like, okay, I'm still a little hungry, so I'm gonna order a club sandwich, which comes with a side of french fries, and he orders a club sandwich, and it comes, it's pretty big, it's like this. Alexa, don't take a picture right now, it's like this big. And it comes with a side of french fries, and it's big enough that he only eats half the sandwich. And he asks for a box with the other half of the sandwich, and then he charges it all to his room, and he goes upstairs. 403, by the way, I checked. And you'll notice in that story, I made no mention of the french fries, and that's because that white man in his 40s, he didn't touch the french fries. And so then I waited what I thought was an appropriate amount of time, and I look at the french fries, and then I look at the bartender, and I look back at the french fries, and I look back at the bartender, and I go, And then I blink my giant eyes at her, and I'm probably wearing a bow in my hair at this point, just picture it. And she goes, because she only makes $2.50 an hour before tips, and I look pretty innocent, and I've already ordered, you know, a glass of white wine, and I'm sitting there eavesdropping on other people's conversations, minding my own business, as one does. So I lean over, and I start eating a couple of the french fries. I mean, I'm helping her, really, because food waste is a real problem affecting this country, okay? I'm actually being an eco-warrior. And then the other white man in his 40s, he turns and he looks at me, and he looks down at the french fries, and he looks back at me, and then he looks back down at the french fries, and he looks back at me, and then he leans over and starts eating some of the french fries. Ew, dude, what the hell are you doing? That's so disgusting. Have you no self-respect? Have you no shame? I mean, because when I do it, I'm channeling my inner gatherer ancestors, right? Like, it's a woman's nature. And when a man does it, I'm sorry, that got really hot. When a man does it, it's like a scavenger. Oh, he's like a raccoon in the dumpster outside. I'm gonna throw a shoe at him and go, get up, scat. And some people are like, oh, well, Courtney, that's not very feminist of you. You know, it's 2024. You know, men and women can do the same things. You know, anyone can eat scrap leftover garbage french fries if they just see them sitting on the bar. And maybe it's not very feminist of me, but maybe I'm actually not very feminist after all, okay? I was the one person who wooed back there at being bisexual, because I'm a brunette woman who does stand-up comedy in Chicago, so like, of course I am, why wouldn't I be? But I understand why people wouldn't necessarily think that I'm bisexual. For example, I've never been on a date with a woman. No one is surprised. No one is surprised. The girl in J. Crew sweatshirt, never been on a date with a girl. I mean, neither of some of you, okay? All right, I've seen you, Danny. No, it's not that I don't want to go on a date with a girl, it's just that I'm not entirely sure about how to go about it, right? Like if I'm a cute girl, as we've established, and like you're a cute girl and we were to go on a date, who pays? She doesn't know. No one's ever been able to answer that question. I asked that question so many times, and no one's ever been able to give me a straight answer. That's probably because it's not a very straight question, to be fair, but I just feel like, okay, maybe it's like the taller person pays? Is that heteronormative? I don't know. I think maybe the answer might be like the man sitting at the end of the bar who won't stop staring at us and won't stop stealing our french fries. What the fuck, dude? But okay, so like I've been on plenty of dates with plenty of men, obviously, and I just feel like if you're going to drug my drink, at least you could do is pay for it. Is that too much to ask? Is that too much to ask? I don't know. Yeah, I also, controversial hot take opinion time, because we're clearly going backwards as a country. Who here is polyamorous? Exactly, good. Yeah, I'm anti-polyamory. in my opinion, okay, if you're going to make up a fake sexuality for attention, just be bisexual like the rest of us, okay? Controversial hot take from Courtney time. No, you're obviously, I've told many of my gay friends that I believe that being polyamorous is because you want more attention than being gay will allow, but you don't want to put in the work to be trans, and that's only a joke for the gays in the back. Thank you. I say that because, sorry, my boyfriend is texting me. Not a bit. No, clearly I am a bisexual with a boyfriend. Obviously. A fun thing about my boyfriend, he does improv. So yeah, we might both be gay, actually. No, I think it's great that my boyfriend does improv because I think that every hot person needs one thing that makes them actually the least hot at all. For example, like Glenn Powell, right? Everyone knows Glenn Powell, the hottest person alive, despite what People magazine says. We all know that Glenn Powell is the hottest man of the year, but his name is Glenn, and that's an unsexy name, and that has made him hotter because he had to fight to get past how unsexy the name Glenn is, right? Like Bruno Mars is so talented, so charismatic, so sexy. Skoki's nodding. But if he were over 5'6", then he would be too powerful. That's why he needs to be a short king, because otherwise it would just be too much. You need to have a little bit of struggle in order to become extra sexy, and that's why my boyfriend does improv. I'm in a cult, actually. Any white women here love cult documentaries? Thank you, exactly. I love cult documentaries so much that I decided to be in one. Yeah, I'm getting like no sleep. I'm eating just carbs for like short bursts of energy, and we're doing dianetics on each other, actually. Yeah, that's what being in a new relationship is like. Being in a new relationship is like being in a cult, because we're just like staring deeply into each other's eyes, and I'm like, hey, do you have all your teeth? And nobody appreciates that joke because you're all alone, and it sucks to be you. No, okay, let's see. What else do I feel like talking about? Situationships. Anybody here in one, or are you all in relationships with a hard R? Oh no, shame. Okay, I hear the shame. What's up?
This is a situationship.
Oh, sick. I love that. How long?
I don't know.
You don't know how long? Okay, that means it's a real good situationship. I would know that because situationships can only have fuzzy timelines. When I was in college, I was in a situationship for 5 years.
Oh.
Exactly, because I was in college for 4 years. I learned everything I needed to know for an undergraduate degree in English literature, but I did not learn my lesson. I did 2024 Paris gold medal, like Simone Biles mental gymnastics in order to justify that to myself, okay? Like I was in deep. I was down bad. It was terrible in there. No, in order to justify that to myself, I was like, okay, well, the reason why, like, he's never been my date to my sorority formal all 4 more years was because he's shy. Like some of you, I was like, okay, well, he wears, horn-rimmed glasses and sweaters with elbow patches, and he reads a lot of Tolkien, and so then I read a lot of Tolkien for a pretty girl, and I was like, that's why no one on our shared Division 1 rowing team knows that we know each other, despite the fact that we spend every goddamn day together. But no, I justified it a lot to myself. And so for context, I went to school in Washington, D.C. Anybody else? Nope, of course not. I went to school in Washington, D.C., and most of the people who I went to school with, they majored in war crimes. And I did not, like I said, got a degree in English literature, so I did not get a job right after college. So I had to move out of our college town. But he stayed in town after we graduated, and so did my sorority little. And after I graduated my sorority little, she was going to get married, and I was going to be a bridesmaid in her wedding. And so I texted him, and I was like, hey, I'm going to be back in town. How would you like to have sex in a bed that's not a twin size? And he said yes. And so I sent him the address to the hotel room that my mom paid for. And I was like, okay, cool, meet me here after the rehearsal dinner. So I go to the rehearsal dinner, and I get drunk on free alcohol, and I come back to the hotel, and he's sitting there in the hotel lobby, and he's waiting for me, and he's reading a book. Sexy, right? Okay, really? Nobody ever agrees with me that that's sexy, and I think that might be why the election went the way it did. But no, he was reading a book, and so then I walk up to him, and I say, let's go upstairs. And so we go upstairs to that hotel room that my mom paid for. And when we get up there, I take one look at him, and he takes one look at me, and he goes, do you mind if I finish this chapter? Yeah, that bruised ego just a skosh. I'm not gonna lie. It hurt my feelings a little bit. It hurt the ego. But clearly I'm over it because that was 7 years ago. And and that friend who got married has a baby now. But no, I'm totally over it. And this is gonna sound like a non sequitur. Are any of y'all on the side of TikTok where your For You page is showing you videos about the signs and symptoms of undiagnosed adult autism? No? Cool. Just me? Sick. Love it. Because I've been getting that quite a bit. And I was like, hey, based on this video, to my friend whose wedding it was, I was like, based on this video, do you think that he has undiagnosed adult autism? And she goes, no, Courtney, I don't think that he has undiagnosed adult autism. And the friends in the front know where I'm going with this. Actually, maybe you don't, because the next thing she says is, he does not like you. And for some reason, that was more difficult for me to swallow. I know what the reason is. The reason is because I have attachment issues. Clearly I have terrible attachment issues. The dianetics obviously is an example of that. We've already decided that we're going to move in together, and I know everything about his dead mom. So no, I do have attachment issues. Over the summer, I was trying to work on it, not with a therapist, obviously, because I'm 27, and you're not allowed to go to therapy when you're 27, actually. There's a new rule, actually. Once you turn 26, you're just like not allowed. They stop making therapists for people who are over the age. There's like a shortage, I guess. I don't know, it's crazy. But I've been working on it, but maybe like overcompensating. I'll let you guys be the judge. I started over the summer, before current boyfriend, seeing this guy, for the sake of anonymity, let's say his name is Matt. His name is Matt, but they're all named Matt. So the odds are pretty good that you won't know which one he is. But I was like, let's be really mature about this, okay? And so we're not gonna put labels on it, all right? Because boyfriend and girlfriend is so juvenile, right? Right. And so instead, what we did is I can go on dates with other people and he can ask me about them. And then he ceases to exist once I no longer see his face, like the object permanence thing the babies have. Because my ego can't handle the idea of him knowing the touch of another woman. And he was over at my apartment for like the second time ever. And he was asking me how dating apps were going. And I was like, oh, well, you know, I have this new rule about dating apps where I no longer give my phone number out to people unless you've been on one successful in-person date, right? I was like, it's a safety issue because I'm, you know, a semi-public figure as a stand-up comedian in Chicago. And, you know, people can just learn too much about you if they have like your phone number and your name. And he's like, I totally get that. Plus, I love getting to know things about people by like meeting them and talking to them in person rather than just like scrolling through their Instagram and just like finding out stuff about them online. Like, I just love that sense of discovery. Like, I don't even know your last name. And then it's a Korean War documentary, just like bombs going off in the background behind me, and I'm just like getting PTSD as it's happening. What the fuck do you mean you don't know? You don't know my last name? You were inside me yesterday. You don't know my last name? I live in a doorman building. You don't know my last name? How the hell did you get up here? You don't know my last name? You just walked into the front desk and said, hey, I'm here to see that annoying bitch in 403, and they just let you up there? Because I'm gonna have to move. That's a security concern. I didn't say any of that to him. I had sex with him? I had sex with him. I'm gonna stand in my truth and say I had sex with him. I didn't know what else to do, okay? Like, I've never been in that situation before. I was confused. I was like, what do you mean you don't know my last name? You couldn't just bother to Google Courtney, Chicago comedian. I'm one of 2 people who comes up and the other one wears glasses. Right? Like, it's not a Clark Kent situation. It's not that hard. But no, I didn't say any of that. I just had sex with him. And then the next day, I don't text him at all, okay? You'll be really proud of me. I can't lie to you. We built such a deep emotional bond here, I can't lie to you. I sent him a song. In my defense, okay? It wasn't like, hey, I'm thinking of you, here's a song. It was the song that was playing in the background while we were having this conversation. Because I've got really good taste in music and really bad taste in men. I'm not crying, you're crying. But I sent him a song, and then the rest of the day I don't text him. And instead what I do is I'm screaming and I'm crying in the shower. Like Rodrigo is playing. That's not the song I sent him. I swear to God it's not the song I sent him. And then the next day, the day after that, okay, I do text him. And I won't read you the notes app that I wrote, but basically to the effect of, okay, listen, I'm not happy with how that went down. I don't need you to respect me, but I need to respect myself. Skoki's nodding, but it's not a strong start. It's not a strong start. I'd give it a 6. And he responds, he's like, thank you so much for bringing this to my attention. It was never my intention to hurt your feelings. I really like you and I'd like to continue spending time with you. In the future, if this sort of thing were to happen, I'd appreciate it if we can have these sorts of conversations in person. Which, on one hand, I appreciate. On the second hand, how the hell could anything like this ever happen again? Are you gonna get bonked on the head? Maybe, I'll do it. But I respond back and I'm like, okay, I appreciate that. I like you too. I'd like to see you again as well. I think I need some space and some time to process this. And he's like, I totally get it. Look, I'm gonna be out of town for the holiday. Why don't I reach back out to you when I'm back in town? And I'm like, okay, sure. And you guys, that was Thanksgiving of last year? Do you guys think he's mad at me? Are you guys mad at me? Because I'm a little disappointed in myself. My name's Courtney Zelazny. That's my last name. Please don't forget it. I will never get over it. Bye.